Welcome back to Salon Britain. Now it's cooking time with Chef Petrina. What have we got happening in the kitchen, Petrina?
We are going to make a nutritious celery, carrot and tomato soup today.
Oh, wow. Very
Sounds
nice
good.
for soup, isn't it? Yeah,
It is.
right. Over to you.
Okay, so I just wanted to explain the ingredients and why we're using it. We've got here celery, a stalk of celery, and you need to make sure it's organic, because if it's not organic, the pesticides tend to go into the stalks of the celery, the inside, and it's actually difficult to actually remove, even if you brush it. So it needs to be organic. And if you can get the celery that's also with the leaves, that's fine as well. Now, what is celery good for? Because a lot of people, they said, why eat celery? A lot of people I've met, they don't like celery or they've never actually even tried celery. If you look at the celery, it actually looks like your bones. So it's actually good for the bones as well. Amongst other things, it's also full of, it's quite water, lots of water inside the celery as well. So it can be quite hydrating as well. And the best way to eat it is either eat it raw or eat it in a soup that's going to be cooked on low heat, not boiling sort of soup. And I'm going to also add the carrots. Carrots, again, if you look at it, if you look at inside, it actually looks like the eye as well. So it's very healthy for the eyes, apart from other things as well. And many people, they tend to peel the carrot itself. That's incorrect. You actually need to eat it with the skin because most of the nutrients are just under the skin as well. And we have the tomatoes. Tomatoes, when I cut it, you'll see it's actually good for the heart. It looks a bit like the heart as well. So that's very good as well. It's got something called lycopene, which is very healthy as well for your overall health as well. So those are the three main ingredients. And I've also got a bit of ginger. Ginger is a very good blood cleanser, and it's also good if you're suffering from like seasickness, motion sickness. I've actually helped someone on holiday by giving her some of the ginger as well.
Wow. So
that's that. We've got a red onion here, which I'm going to use as well. Red onion is good for fighting off viruses. If you've got things like phlegm, it's actually good to expel the phlegm as well when you're coming down with a cold or flu. And a bit of garlic. Garlic's the same as well. Similar to that, it helps with the viruses. And I'm gonna, at the end of the soup, I'm actually gonna put some what we call watercress. Watercress is actually very good for if you're feeling low, lethargic in energy. It's high in iron content, so it's actually very good as well. Now the watercress, you can either eat it raw or you can actually just blanch it in soup, which I'll show you when we finish the soup. So let me just get cutting.
Very wholesome ingredients there, isn't it, Petrina? Can you swap out, like, if someone doesn't like one ingredient, go for another? Or do you think, no, it should be all of these ingredients?
The reason why I chose most of these ingredients is because it just brings out the flavour in the soup itself. However, you know me, I like to improvise as well. So if you don't have certain ingredients in your kitchen or available, then you can actually just swap it with other things. You can take, like, for example, add leeks to it. Leeks are very good as well. If you want to make like with sweet potato is actually very diabetic friendly as well. Although it tastes sweet, it's actually a very good form of potato to eat. And just put whatever you have in the kitchen. You can even add things like parsnips. It just makes the soup really wholesome.
Yeah.
So the trick is basically just to start, chopping it into very fine, really fine, dice it really fine. I'm going to do the same with the celery as well. The celery, you can see slightly, it's oxidized slightly over here, so I'm just going to cut off just the end. Just get rid of it a little bit. And the rest you can just cut it across here like this.
So celery, I've always been confused about celery because, admittedly, Petrina, you're going to hate this because I know that you're a woman of no wastage. But I tend not to use past the green part.
Okay.
That's a lot of celery not included.
Because I just thought that was the part you're not supposed to use. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, you've seen me in my last show. I just hate wastage. So there's a lot of food that we tend to waste. We tend to cut off the sides, the leaves, which can all be eaten. And every part of the vegetable is actually nutritious as well. So eat as much as you can of everything.
It's just about retraining, isn't it?
It is.
Because we've been taught that so many parts of food, veg and fruit are not supposed to be eaten.
Yeah.
It's about reframing it and then retraining your body otherwise.
And you'll see with the celery as well, a lot of people, when they cook, they tend to string the celery because they say it's chewy, but you see, I've not actually stringed any celery, and you'll find that when you taste it, it's not going to be chewy at all. Many people, they will juice the celery. Now, juicing is fine. However, it's not my favorite because if you're just going to drink the juice and not eat all of these fibrous bits, then you're not going to get the benefits as well.
I mean, on social media, it went crazy, celery juice. Like, drink celery juice and you lose stomach fat, you lose this, you use that. And I was like, oh, gosh. That's a lot of celery that we're going to be juicing. It always
comes out, those little things, cabbage soup diet and all of those. It never lasts, does it?
No,
I mean,
it
how
doesn't.
long are you going to have celery juice for? Yeah.
And the other thing about juicing is, again, it goes towards the thing that, we're all rushing. We tend to just want to gulp stuff down. Whereas we're meant to be chewing food as well and not just drinking it.
I think that's the biggest thing biggest change that I made to my diet is actually chewing it between 15 and 20 times before actually swallowing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm very fast
really into
with
that
eating, and
mindfulness of...
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And if you think about how we were made, we've got teeth for a reason, we've got saliva for a reason. We're not just meant to be, gulping stuff down in a rush and on the go.
It feels like I just hoover it all up.
I need to be a bit more Jen, I think. I eat very fast, so the thought of like chewing, did you say 15 times?
15 to 20 times, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're meant to be actually chewing every mouthful at least about 20 times until the food becomes like a paste, a bit like baby food, before you actually swallow.
Yeah.
The reason why is because if you don't do that, then, when it reaches the digestive system, it's like working working together as a team. So if you don't chew your food enough, then the digestive system will say, hey, why are you sending food down that's not chewed?
Yeah.
You know what's amazing, though, is we even tell our kids, like, hurry up, why are you still chewing? Like, finish your meal, we've got to go. So it's amazing, it's kind of ingrained in us, and then we do it with our kids. And to think actually eating slow is the way it should be. It's amazing how we actually run it, isn't it?
But if we look at breastfeeding, for instance, breastfeeding can take such a long time for the baby to actually feed and be full because it takes so many breaks.
Oh, you're telling me.
So it's like, I always remember that when I'm telling the kids, because I just like, hurry up. I'm like, actually, hold on, if you was breastfeeding, would I be screaming at you to hurry up?
Come
like,
on.
I'll let you take your time.
Such an interesting way to think about it.
And the things when you're screaming at the kids while breastfeeding, then those negative energy, like I was mentioning, is going to go into the food as well.
Yeah, it's true.
So true.
It's true.
And then the thing is, when you're telling your children to hurry up, then they will always have it in mind that every time when it comes to feeding time, it's a hurried process.
Quick thing, yeah. What I'm appreciating about your board is the colours.
Yes, you can see it's just lovely. Lovely colours. I'm just going to dice it a bit more.
And another thing that I've noticed, Petrina, is that you really do take your time to really cut the vegetables. I noticed that last week as well, and I was thinking, if that was me, just cut it, put it in, cut it and put it in.
Yes.
Get the job done.
Yeah. So we're sort of done in dicing these main ingredients. So we've got, again, to repeat, the ginger, garlic, the red onions, the celery, and the carrots itself. The tomatoes, I'm going to chop it up in a minute while we're cooking. So again, you can actually, this is one of the tricks actually to actually cook the meal quite fast as well. Because if you spend all the time chopping before cooking, then it's going to take a bit more time.
Yeah.
Well, you see that I'll be actually chopping the tomatoes up whilst these other harder vegetables are actually cooking. So what I'm going to do is just heat up the pot right now.
Now, Aisha wasn't here last week when you mentioned the importance of the material of the pot. I think it's worth repeating.
So with most people, they tend to cook with aluminium or non-stick pots for the convenience. Now aluminium is very cheap. When you lift up an aluminium pot, you actually find that it's really light. And what we've done is this one is a pot that's made of titanium 316 material, which is the same material that's actually used for the surgery in your body. For example, if you had a hip replacement, things like that. And there's a test that shows that the chemicals in the metal doesn't actually leach into the food. The reason why we don't taste the metal when we cook in the other soft cookware is because we tend to add salt, pepper, we tend to add spices, and it actually masks the flavor. Well, if you actually boil the water and put some bicarbonate of soda, you'll actually be able to taste the metal taste in the cookware itself. And if you're going to eat this every day from the pots, then you're going to slowly be ingesting poison without realizing it. And this is where you've got illnesses like Alzheimer's, dementia coming in.
It's really overlooked, isn't it? The pan that you cook in. And it's all those little things that I'm learning that it's like, how can we overlook all of this? It's so important.
Yeah.
The thing's because of, again, lack of knowledge, lack of instructions.
Yeah. I was really looking at my pans the other day with a side eye. Am I chucking you out?
Side eye. Yeah, you're not here for long now.
Yeah. So the pot's hot now. So I'm just going to add some olive oil infused with a bit of spices and chili as well. So this is like probably two large tablespoons.
Will any oil do, or olive oil is better?
We prefer olive oil or coconut oil because it's a healthier oil itself. So that's it. Just let it heat up a bit in the pan. Now you'll notice that the pan's actually on medium heat. It's not on high heat where the oil is like splashing across, because we don't want to be cooking or overcooking the meal itself. Because when you cook on too high heat, above 86 degrees Celsius, then it's going to destroy the nutrients in the food. And this is where we get, whenever people say, yes, I'm eating celery, yes, I'm eating all these foods, why am I not getting healthy? It's because you've actually killed all the nutrients in the food while preparing it.
Right.
And these are bay leaves from our garden. Bay leaves are just going to be medicinal, so I'm going to just put that in as well.
It all looks so fresh, Petrina.
Yes. And you'll see as well, I've chopped this sort of like on the spot today because, again, we have this issue about oxidization. So if we had prepared the vegetables before and left it out, then it'll actually oxidize more. Similar like when you cut an apple, you leave it out for a few minutes, it tends to become brown.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's it. The pot is quite hot now. So I'm just going to add in all these.
One thing I find quite sad actually is the healthier the ingredient, sometimes the more expensive. Like actually, the most unhealthy things are so cheap and convenient and easy to buy. Yeah. Like even when you're going to olive oil, when you're talking about the pan, of course we should prioritize our health. But why does this world make it so expensive to do that?
I think that is just a matter of mindset, because if you think about, a lot of people, they tend to work and they say they don't have time to cook. So they'll be going, they'll not even be packing their own drinks when they're commuting. And they'll happily go to the shops and, a coffee can be like £5 these days, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And you can bring your own tea in like a flask like this, and it'll cost you pennies. So it's just a matter of getting organized and your mindset.
It's like when we say there's no time, but yet we're on our phones for hours.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Do you know, it's funny because my kid's hairdresser, she said to me that you parents will come here and sit here for 2 hours while getting your kid's hair done, and you say that you have no time.
This is it. Oh, that aroma's coming through nicely, Petrina.
It is, yeah. So as I showed you before, the tomato, when you cut it, it looks a bit like your heart as well. So that's going to be good for that.
I am now going to be looking at veg very differently now,
Yes.
Petrina.
We've got 4 or 5 minutes, Petrina. Is that
That's okay. That's fine. So I'm just going to chop the tomatoes up, like I said, while waiting for the harder vegetables to cook slightly. And while it's cooking as well, I'm just going to add a bit of water because we're making a soup.
Petrina, I'm really fascinated to understand what cooking meant for you growing up as a child, or what food meant to your family as a child growing up in Malaysia.
Well, I was brought up in a sort of like what do you call a medium, average income type family. So we did eat out, but not all the time. So I was fortunate in itself where my parents actually cooked.
Okay.
However, being the only lady in the house, or only daughter on my mum's side, I was quite protected. So I was actually allowed to use a knife. I was given all the not so pleasant jobs like peeling the garlic and that's it basically, and not really doing the chopping and stuff like that. So yeah, my love or the interest in cooking actually came about when I came over to the UK, because I came over to the UK as a student. So as you know, student life, we're not really that cash rich in a sense.
Yeah.
So you had to find a way to actually survive economically, as we call it. So then we just learned cooking.
Amazing.
And I love experimenting with food. So when I watch someone cook, or when I've gone to eat out and I've liked the dish, I'll actually make a note of what ingredients are in the dish, and I'll see how can I make it better.
Nice, so you're quite creative.
Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes when I cook, as I said, because we can't actually, we may not have the exact ingredients, I'll just be a bit creative and improvise and see what's actually available in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So you can see the vegetables are cooking quite nicely, simmering quite nicely. Let's put the tomatoes in. And I'm just going to also put some salt and some other herbs as well. Cook.
Is that normal salt you use, just table salt?
It's sea salt that I'm using, and a bit of turmeric and paprika, which I've mixed as well. The reason why we use sea salt is because it's full of minerals.
Right.
If you're going to use the processed salt, the white salt, we don't encourage that because that's highly processed. It's got no minerals at all.
Gosh, I have a lot to change.
Yeah, so we recommend there's a salt called Celery, which you can find in the shops or on websites. You can actually order those as well.
Nice.
Brilliant. And we've just got the ingredients up now if anyone wants to take a quick screenshot with your phone.
Okay, it's actually ingredients that you will actually find at home anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not too difficult. Even if you pop down to the shops, you can actually find a lot of those. Now the smell is absolutely divine. It smells absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, so just cooking it a bit more.
Got a couple of minutes, Petrina.
Pardon?
Couple of minutes.
Yes, that's fine.
1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. We're almost done anyway, so as you can see.
That was so easy. So
Yeah.
nice and straightforward.
Yeah. Now, actually, let me ask you, because I asked Petrina, what was your relationship with food growing up when you were young?
I had not a great relationship with food. I'd come home from school. Oh, I hope my mum and dad aren't watching. And they'd be like, "Are you hungry?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And they'd throw me not 1 pack of crisps, but the 6-pack, and I'd just sit there and just
go through it
watch
all.
telly. A lot of watching telly and eating and that kind of thing. But also, food's really important in our family. Everyone sits around food. We're very start with food. Food starts with love, kind of thing, which is nice, but not necessarily the healthiest.
Yeah.
Form.
I don't know. I think I had a really toxic relationship with food as well growing up, just eating everything. But then I really started to dislike food. And then I got to like 21, 22. And then I just had this urge to just learn how to cook different things.
Yeah.
And I had like a huge pile of like recipe books. I used to cook everything in all of them.
Oh, wow.
Like me and my friends used to have competitions when we used to go over to each other's houses.
I love that.
But then that's when I really started to enjoy the creation of food, because before that it was just about eating, isn't it? And I think that's what's different in our households. You don't get to enjoy the creation of it, but you just get to enjoy
just
the
eat.
eating.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so the soup's almost ready. What I've done is I've used like a potato masher just to mash the vegetables up a bit more.
Very
so that
clever,
the moisture
because
comes
most people
out.
would just put it in a blender and be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that as well. Yeah.
Oh, I love vegetable soup.
Yeah. So with the soup, you can either, like you said, use a blender to actually make the soup, like really smooth, or you could actually have this. So I personally like this because you can actually still see the vegetables and actually chew it slightly as well when you.
Amazing. So look,
consume it.
we're going to need to wrap up.
Yes.
Due to time, how long would you leave this? What would be the last thing that you do, just so our viewers are aware?
What I've done is I've actually brought some arame, seaweed.
Okay.
And this seaweed is actually good for your thyroid, if you've got any thyroid issues. So I'm just going to add it in very quickly. So just some of it there. It doesn't actually need to be cooked a lot. Just stir it, and it's really done.
Amazing.
So the soup's done, you
what
can
a
see it.
brilliant dish. And can I just say, viewers won't be able to appreciate how lovely the aroma is that comes through. Well, look, Petrina, thank you so much. We have now reached the end of our show, but don't forget to join us again tomorrow for another great episode.